I was a hidden treasure and I yearned to be known. So I created the creation in order to be known. And so there's this understanding from a Sufi perspective that all of this exists because the divine wanted to be witnessed. And as undifferentiated oneness, like the divine couldn't witness itself, herself, himself, itself. And so by creating this illusion of separation, at the moment that we reunite with oneness is the witnessing that the divine is yearning for. And because we are divine expressions as human beings, we carry that yearning to be witnessed. And so if we are talking about somebody's challenges while witnessing them as perfect human expressions, then it comes out as a healing empathy, not as an activation.
Hello and welcome to the True Wealth podcast, where we ask the question, what does it mean to be truly wealthy in this digital age of distraction and disconnection? I'm your host, Betty Cotton Birtles, blues singer, Buddhist, mum of two, and former global shoestring adventurer turned hypnotherapist and mindset coach. I believe that by healing our past and changing our beliefs, we may achieve not only the external successes, the house, the relationship, the money, the impact, but also internal success, the ability to actually enjoy our lives, because it's the joy and happiness that makes it all worthwhile. Join me as I invite friends, colleagues, and esteemed teachers to discuss means of enhancing enjoyment in our lives, following our inspiration as individuals to create whatever it is that lights us up, so that we might radiate that energy out into the world via our businesses or our day-to-day lives, with the intention that all beings may benefit. I believe that this is where true wealth lies. Welcome to the show. Hello and welcome to another episode of the True Wealth with Betty podcast. I'm so happy that you're here. Today's conversation is a true treasure. I mean, I know I really do say that a lot, but it was a really special one. My guest today is Mark Silver, the founder of Heart of Business, where for over 25 years, he's been doing something genuinely rare. He's helping spiritually oriented people build small businesses that actually support them without selling their souls or resorting to all the manipulative nonsense that passes for marketing these days. And Mark's path here is really quite extraordinary, as you'll hear. He was a paramedic, a punk, an activist, and a student of Sufi healing. Amazing. Coming from a Jewish background too. So such an interesting, juicy story. So rich. And what he's woven from all of this is something that he calls business healing, rooted in love, care, and the radical idea that being witnessed is a divine need. And yeah, as you'll see when you get into it, this conversation certainly, it really, I'm struggling for the words with this. It spoke to me at a level that I don't normally, it kind of scratched an itch that I have that, I don't normally speak about, which is my Buddhist practice and Buddhist path, because I was so inspired by how Mark is bringing his Sufi practice and beliefs into his business. So this conversation, it cracked me open for sure, and it cracked him open, although to be honest, not that I was closed ever. So I don't know if that's the right expression, but it was so real and tender and exactly what I needed to hear. And I think Mark and I both shed a little tear at various points. Mark named some things that perhaps you might relate to about, he spoke about overgiving, about worth, about letting ourselves be seen. And these things are things that people I work with are coming up against a lot, and myself included. And somewhere in the middle, he caught me by surprise and ended up asking me some questions about my own Buddhist practice that I've never really spoken about before on the podcast. So yeah, I got a little bit uncomfortable, and then I shared. Yeah, just I answered his question. I spoke about my Buddhist practice, and it was a really beautiful conversation. So a meandering one to take your time with. And I loved it so much. And I hope you enjoy the conversation even half as much as I did. Enjoy. Hello, Mark, and welcome to the True Wealth podcast. It is such a pleasure to have you here today. How are you doing?
Thank you, Betty. I'm delighted to be here. Thank you. How am I today? It's just starting to get warm here, and my office is on the third floor, and we need new HVAC,
What's
it's a little warm.
HVAC?
HVAC, heating, cooling, we need to replace
Oh.
our aging system with a heat pump. So it's a little warm, but I'm not visibly sweating, so it's all good.
And whereabouts are you, Mark? I'm not
We
100% sure.
Yeah, we're in Pennsylvania, which
Pennsylvania,
is
yeah.
we're near Harrisburg, so it's about 90 minutes west of Philadelphia, and it's about 90 minutes north of Washington, D.C. We're about a 3-hour train ride from New York City, you know.
Uh-huh. Okay. Great. Yeah, I mean, my geography of the United States is terrible, but I
Yeah, well,
did come for the first time
oh
last
boy.
year. I came to the States, but nowhere near you. I went to New Mexico,
Oh
um,
yeah,
for
very different.
Tad's event that he did there.
Oh, good.
Um, yeah, it was really nice. Anyway, so I I'm going to start with a confession, Mark, because I haven't yet read your book and I wish I had done, but I've ordered it and it's coming and I'm really excited about it. So let's just, I see it behind you in the video, Heart-Centered Business.
Yeah.
So hopefully this conversation will be such an enticing invitation into your world for my listeners that everyone's going to go and read the book and we'll all sing and shout about how wonderful it is, I'm sure.
Well,
So
if it finds its way to the people who need it, I'm happy. So yes. Yeah.
wonderful. So your story is interesting, Mark. I mean, from the bird's eye view that I have of it at the moment, and I'd love for you to share a little bit about the work that you're doing and how
Mhm.
you got to it. And I'm sure you get asked this question all the time. So, feel free to answer it with as much detail or as little detail as you want to. But I'm fascinated in your particular lens on business. And yeah, do you want to just launch into that?
Sure. Well, so the work I do here at Heart of Business for the last 25, 26 years, um, sits at the intersection, if you will, or integration of small, tiny businesses, spiritual connection, healing, nourishment, and social justice, liberation work, DEIB. And these are all fundamental to each other. And it all, I, I was an activist from a young age. I was in the punk hardcore community in Washington, D.C. growing up as a teen. and, Rock Against Reagan, and out there on the streets protesting all kinds of crap that was being done. And later in 1988, I came out as queer, as bisexual, and was part of the queer community and ran the bisexual magazine, Anything That Moves, after moving to San Francisco, and was involved with a lot of queer focus. I know, right? I always forget the humor impact of that title.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was cheeky, as I think you all like to
Cheeky,
say.
right? Yeah,
And
totally.
so
I love that.
and so we were doing a lot of activism. I was involved in like pro-feminist activism, defending abortion clinics.
Wow.
And there was a lot of that, and I got really, really burnt out on activism, just the anger
Did you?
and
Yeah.
exhaustion and things. And
Too many
and it,
causes.
well, I don't know if it's too many causes because we were quite focused,
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
gender and
Yeah. Okay.
feminism and queer stuff is all deeply intersected, and I didn't come to uh, understand white supremacy until much later in my journey, and colonialism, and all of that, understanding capitalism, like having a more sophisticated analysis of like
Mm.
how things have been messed with. And and I was also at the same time, when I was in the San Francisco Bay Area, working as a paramedic. That was my job. I was a
A
paramedic
paramedic
working.
punk.
Yes, queer paramedic, queer punk.
I love that.
I had it's been a fun life.
Right.
And uh and that was also where I met my wife. We're in a long-term monogamous relationship. We've been together, we just 26 years married, 30
Congratulations.
some, yeah, 32 years
Wow.
together, something like that. Yeah.
That's
Um
awesome.
yeah, it is awesome. It is awesome. And so there was a point where um I made the transition because I had run this magazine, and lots of my friends were self-employed, and I knew something
Mm.
about marketing and fundraising and things like that, and layout. Um, I was just helping people with marketing, and I
Yeah.
knew more than I thought I did. And from my experiences, and I grew up in small business. My grandfather had a
Mm.
retail store that my parents then ran, and so I was just around it. And I realized I needed to process people emotionally, like support people emotionally. And I was asking Holly, who's always my wife, who's always been a healer. I always had kind of like a healing tack to her. Anyway, without stretching this out too long, there was a Sufi teacher, a sheikh from Palestine, from Jerusalem,
Mm.
who had traveled to the U.S. and had U.S. based students, and we were learning Sufi Islamic healing, spiritual healing, and um, which was quite a stretch for me, being part of a queer Jewish community at the time. Um, but it was really beautiful. It was really beautiful. I mean, like, I'm kind of like hitting these bullet points, but I
Yeah.
want to just say that there's like the healing process in me between Islam and Judaism, and between like, yeah, just the nourishment was just so profound. It was really, really profound journey for me, because I don't really see any separation between the two. I mean, Judaism and Islam are
Wow.
so
Yeah.
similar. I mean, really they're the same thing.
Hmm.
Um, the Quran references the Torah so many times, and I mean, there's so much interconnection there. Um, and in my work with the Sufis, when I was helping people with business, I started to get like these downloads. There'd be these esoteric spiritual healings, and spiritual teachings, and I would just be shown or see in my heart like their application to business practices. And it was
Wow.
really,
Whoa.
really stunning. Yeah,
That's amazing.
it was.
Like, let me just get that right. So when you were exposed to the teachings, you
Right.
got like an intuitive understanding of how this could be applied to business. Oh my God, can you say some more about that?
Yeah, I can.
Or
And
if you
I
want
do
to.
want to
Yeah.
say that I was
Yeah.
studying the healing I was studying was there was a focus on business healing. One of the faculty had was like
Right.
a so we were doing business healing, but he had much more, the person teaching it had much more of a corporate background and didn't have the small business, you know,
So there was
experience that I have.
there was a
Yeah,
course, Mark, that you signed up for within your school of Sufism that
right.
was entitled Business Healing.
Well, yes. I mean, I
What?
studied for 3 years with a
What year was
focus on
this?
business healing. So,
What year?
what's that?
When was that? Like
2000, the year 2000?
2000. Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. I'd never heard of business healing. That
Yes. People, it wasn't, yeah, it's, it's a thing. It's a
is,
thing.
I mean, I know it now
And,
because it's what I
yeah.
do, but I thought, like that's kind of two worlds that I've brought together without really knowing that it existed for so long. So I'm really excited to hear about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so so like an example, the most one of the more common examples I give is, in marketing, for instance, we talk about how in most marketing you hear like you have to talk about the problem, right? You have to talk
Hmm.
about the problem.
Yeah.
What is it that they're struggling with? What's the problem? The challenge is that the way it's done in capitalism, the way it's mostly taught, is it's done really toxically. It's like you push on people's buttons till they're
Right.
activated, re-traumatizing them. They're activated, and the only way to get soothing is to purchase, right? And so
Yeah.
that's kind of like the playbook that's often taught, and it's gross and it's manipulative and it's harmful and it's like, yeah. And naturally, a lot of people with heart, like, I don't want to do that. Like, of course, like you should not do that. Don't do that.
Yeah. Right.
However, at the same time, there is a hadith in the Islamic tradition is a saying from the Prophet Muhammad, alayhi salam,
Mm.
hadith. And there's a section of there's a portion of the hadith which are called hadith Qudsi, which are considered to be direct quotations from Allah, direct quotations from the divine source. Um, and one of them says, and of course, I'm rendering it in English. I don't speak Arabic, so I'm sure it's,
Hmm.
the Arabic is probably different, slightly different, but it's, I was a hidden treasure and I
Hmm.
yearned to be known. So I created the creation in order to be known.
Mm.
And so there's this understanding from a Sufi perspective that all of this exists because the divine wanted to be witnessed. And as undifferentiated oneness, it like the divine couldn't witness itself, herself, himself, itself. And and so by creating this illusion of separation, at the moment
Mm.
that we reunite with oneness is the witnessing that the divine is yearning for. And
Mm.
because we are divine expressions as human beings, we carry that yearning to be witnessed.
Mm.
And so if we are talking about somebody's challenges while witnessing them as perfect human expressions, then it comes out as a healing empathy, not as an activation.
Yeah. Amen to that.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that's a different way to talk. I was just teaching this the other day in a class about problem-based marketing. It's like
Hmm.
instead of activating someone, you can say like, like if somebody's doing physical healing or maybe they're a chiropractor, I don't, it's like, yeah, you like to be really active, you like to be able to hold your kids, you like to be able to
Mm.
live your life, and you've had some kind of an injury and your back makes a lot of that really difficult or hard or impossible.
Hmm.
And the backs can heal.
Hmm.
Backs can heal. And it is really frustrating and painful and probably a lot of grief in not being able to do the things that you love to do.
Hmm.
But, healing is often possible.
Hmm.
And so when you come from this place of empathy, one, I'm not saying I'm the only person who can heal you and you have to
Yeah.
do my
Right.
special approach. I'm just like, I see you. I see
Yeah.
you. I see you. And people feel that. when you're doing it with presence, whether you're doing it in person or whether you're doing it on a web page.
Yeah.
There's often a sense of people being able to, like the kind of marketing I like to create or like to help clients create is, can the person reading it pause and take a breath? Is that their
Yeah.
experience in receiving it?
I love that. That is
Yeah.
so nourishing, isn't it? And I mean, wow. So, and I'm so grateful for you being out there doing this work and teaching people that there's this other way. Yeah,
Thank you.
beautiful.
Oh my
Thank you.
goodness. I love it. I'm so grateful that I get to do this, and there's a thousand ways that this, gets looked at. I'll give just another small example, which is that if everything is an expression of the divine and
Yeah,
everything has a divine reality to it, it means that our businesses have a divine reality to it separate
right.
from us. And
Mm,
so they have a heart, and we can
mm,
communicate with the business. We can receive, we can talk, we can communicate with the business, not, as a separate entity. And the business itself can take on things. It can take on abilities. It can take on a beingness, and we can have a relationship with that. And the business can develop to the point where it's supporting us. Whereas so many,
mm.
especially tiny businesses, people see themselves as the business.
Yeah,
And so they never have a way of being able to understand, like, well, how am I going to be supported? Or am I always going to be carrying this load?
yeah,
And this looks a lot of different ways because it looks emotional and it looks spiritual in the way we receive it, but it also looks like, oh, when you're, if you design a website and you have a sign up form and you have a way to deliver care to someone when they sign up, that's a way that the business is holding a structure for you that you don't have to hold for yourself. And we can see that as an expression of beingness. And
beautiful. Yeah. So it's a bit of
which,
an exchange in a way that you're creating this structure, um, that it comes from you and then you create it and then it can sustain you.
yeah. Yes, it comes from I mean, from a Sufi point of view, we would say it
Yeah.
all comes from the divine, all from the oneness that we are not separate from in
Would you
any
say
way.
that it that is coming from the divine even when it's um this is a bit of a controversial question maybe, like,
No,
the toxic when the toxic practices are coming to the people who are writing applying their pressure and doing it in that way, is it still from the divine?
so this is a good question. This is
Yeah.
an excellent question because, again, from a Sufi point of view, I don't want to claim to be,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
knower of all things.
No.
Astaghfirullah. But everything that has an existence has to have a divine behind
Hmm.
it. However, this physical world, things can get distorted, they can get
Yeah.
veiled, they can get twisted in how they're expressed. So the example I gave before of like problem-based marketing is a perfect example. There is
Hmm.
this divine essence of people wanting to be witnessed. And the reality of talking about problems is at its heart a divine presence. If something has persistence to it, it has to have a divine reality. But
Mm.
people have twisted it. They've twisted it and they've left a lack of acknowledgement of the love and care that needs to be there. And so they've
Mm.
created this toxic version of it, even though at the
Mm.
heart of it, there's something real that can be discovered.
And Mark, I'm curious as I'm listening to you, I'm curious, like, do you have a sense, or what is your sense of why people do that? Why do people twist it?
I think that people are. I think for the most part, I think there are people that are legitimately capitally evil. And I say that I never used to believe that, but when I was in college, I spent a semester abroad in Europe, and then this was still the Soviet Union was still in existence, and I
Mm.
crossed the border and I traveled to Poland because that's where my people are from, and visited the concentration camp,
Oh,
Auschwitz,
yeah. Wow.
and when I walked, because the communists so hated the fascists, they preserved, unlike the Germans, which turned the
Mm.
concentration camps into more like museums. The
Mm-hmm.
the communists, the Soviets, preserved the camp the same way it was the day it was liberated.
God.
And when I walked into it, when I crossed the border, like I could felt the presence that I could only describe as capital E. Like that was my first time I was like, okay, evil exists. It exists. It's not just
Wow.
like people with bad, it's not just like a misunderstanding or a twist. Like so I
Mm.
think that there is evil in the world. However, I think that most people are not capitally evil, or acting from
Right.
those. I just think
Right.
people are trying to get really legitimate needs met,
Yeah.
and they don't know how to. They don't. They, like we've been fed this line about like, well, this is just
Yeah.
how you do it,
Right.
and this is how it's done, and they don't have
Yeah.
alternatives. And so people, even with this is where it's really not so fun, is that people who are really sincere. I've
Right.
encountered this so many times. People who are really sincere. They care. They're not trying to hurt anyone, but they've taken on toxic business practices because that's what they think works. And so
Mm-hmm.
when someone else encounters them who's maybe a little bit intuitive or spiritual, they can read that the person has sincere intentions, but the tactic itself is twisted. And
Mm.
so it's easier for people to get caught in that way. And they're just, like we're just trying to keep a roof over our head and food in the fridge and
Yeah.
take care of the people we love. I mean, it's not coming from most of the time it's not coming from a fundamentally bad impulse.
No, and sometimes, I mean, from my own experience, because I went through that before I found Tad, I went through the manipulative stuff, but it was kind of dressed up with lipstick and stuff. It
Mm,
wasn't so obvious to start
right.
with, but it was manipulative. Anyway, yeah, and I had very strong ethics even then, but somehow I managed to go really far off track. Um,
Happens to a lot of people.
yeah, yeah. Did you ever do that, or did you from the beginning have a way of keeping in with your ethics?
So I did not do that.
Well, good for
However,
you.
well, I mean, yes, and the other side of that is what I've called an overdose of integrity, where I was so, and this happens for a lot of our clients too, like they're so worried about doing that that they
Yeah.
stay far away and their businesses limp along. And so like
Uh-huh.
there were there were ways that our business could have been more successful earlier, as I
Yeah.
was learning things.
Would you say
Um,
that's like patterns of overgiving, for example, or undercharging then?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that's exactly what happened to me after I realized I was doing the bad
Mhm.
thing. And then
Right.
I went totally to the other side. I guess this is a common phenomenon.
It's super common. It's super common. And the truth is that, like, overgiving, I think is a terrible way to talk about it
Yeah.
because there are times when we are being asked to give without receiving.
Hmm. Yeah.
We are.
Yeah.
We're like capitalism likes to tell the story that it's the natural way of being, but that is not true. It's only been around for a few hundred years. Commerce and trade have been around as long as humans have been
Mm.
human. Thousands, tens of thousands of years. The anthropological record shows that there's been trade over long distances, and it's looked so many different ways. There's been so many different versions of it in different cultures, and so uh, overgiving, again, it has this kernel of divine truth of like, yeah, we're supposed to be generous. We're supposed to
Hmm.
care for one another.
Yes.
We're supposed to look out for one another. The challenge is that what happens is that, you know, as what might have happened with you is that you get left out of the circle of care,
Right. Yeah.
you know? And so it's not,
Exactly.
overgiving is a, it's an easy way to talk about it.
Hmm.
I use that language also, but I think that I don't think it catches the nuance of what's happening. Like it's not a
I
fundamental mistake, you know?
Yeah, I really appreciate you for mentioning that. Thanks, Mark, because I couldn't agree more that it's not a helpful framing. Um, and it is the language that I work with so many, actually a lot of medics at the moment, and so
Mhm.
many of them are caught in these cycles of, yeah, like you say, giving to everyone and just leaving themselves off. I like
Right.
that circle of giving. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It mirrors the natural world because,
Mm.
the first artery off the heart is is the coronary artery. The heart feeds itself first before it feeds the body.
Mm.
And because
Mm.
without you don't feed the heart, nothing else is getting nothing.
Right.
And yeah, so I think it's important for us to be included in that. But it's important to acknowledge that people feel a need. It's just that it's also a subtle form of spiritual arrogance,
Yes.
unconscious. It's
Yes.
not conscious. People don't take this on. I don't
Yeah.
mean this in a pejorative way, but it's an unconscious spiritual arrogance to pretend that we don't have needs, that we aren't human,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
give instead of also like we expect our clients to be vulnerable. They have needs. But we
Mm-hmm.
also have to meet them as equals.
Mm-hmm.
We're human beings with needs also, and we need to be as vulnerable as we expect them to be in different ways. I mean, it's a different
Mm-hmm.
way, but it's still a vulnerability. It's like, I need to we need to feed our family. We need to pay the mortgage, etc.
Hmm. Okay. I have a couple of directions I could go here, and I'm feeling like, yeah. So, well, when right back at the beginning, like shortly after you mentioned about being a paramedic punk, which I just can't get over, I love. And then when you mentioned about when you found Sufism, um, no, when you after your the other thing I can't get over the title of your magazine. Uh when and then you started to help your friends out who were with marketing because you realized, oh, actually I'm good at these things. And then you mentioned that your wife was particularly good at helping, perhaps. I think I heard you say that with the emotions that were coming up for people.
Yes.
Yeah. So, is this a core piece of what you're doing now in the heart of business, kind of helping people
Yeah.
with the emotional reactions that they're experiencing when they're showing up in their business?
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes. We do healing work within the context of
Uh,
the business. So, um, yes, absolutely.
and that healing work that you are bringing to Heart of Business and the people who are in your orbit there, um, this the healing? Is this a Sufi method of healing that you're
Um,
offering?
it's not solely Sufi. I mean, Sufi
Mm-hmm.
is we've learned that, but my wife, who wasn't always in the business, although she is now a full partner,
Mm.
and um, she's been trained in uh, constellation work.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we've been trained in nonviolent communication. We've been trained in, there's been a lot of different a lot of different modalities that we've had connections with and that she's had. I mean, she was a massage therapist and she learned,
Mm-hmm.
acupressure and she learned hypnotherapy and she has
Mm-hmm.
more modalities than I have at the healing
Mm-hmm.
realm. And I did do 3 year, we both did like a 3 year Sufi healing training and then did a teacher training. And then I was faculty in the teacher internship program. And then I did my Master's of Divinity with my Sufi teachers. And so
Wow.
that's a huge part of the stream that I'm swimming in. So,
Yeah. Is there, I'm quite curious about what Sufi healing, what this kind of looks like, or
mhm.
what happens. I mean, is it I d- just a little flavor of what that might be like?
Yeah. So the so like the most basic practice is what the Sufis call remembrance, dhikr. And remembrance is literally remembering that the divine exists. And I'll say that when I say divine, I don't mean a beard in the sky. I mean the oneness from which we're all separate, I mean, from which we're not separate, from which we're all separate, from which we're not separate. No one is separate in any way from the divine. And that this remembering itself is, like a very fundamental form of healing. And the way that it's done, um, although it's relational, it's not mechanical, is to call a name of the divine into your heart. And so we'll often just do Allah, which is the Arabic for God. People of any religion that say God would say Allah in Arabic. Christians, Jews, Hindus, whoever talks about God and they're talking Arabic, that's the word they'll use. And so just be calling Allah into the heart. And over and over and over again, like I'm calling, like I am calling to the beloved. I'm calling to the one. And the experience for a lot of people is it's like if you've ever been in a theater and you're in the front row and you're just immersed in the story. So the remembrance will move you back in the theater and you remember that, oh yeah, there's a story. I'm involved with the story. What a wonderful story. But there's a larger reality. I'm part of like I can be more resourced. And there are also intrinsic qualities of the divine. So, Sufism talks about 99 names of God, and Judaism talks about 72, and Hinduism has all the different gods and goddesses, different aspects of divinity. So, like, for instance, in Sufism, there's a quality for love. Wadud is, or Rahman, which is mercy, or Kahar, which is like kind of dominant strength, or there's Shafi, the healer, or Karim is generosity. And our hearts thirst for these, like these are legitimate needs. Like we can receive them, we can fill with them, we can express them. Like if I'm needing protection, if I'm feeling the need for protection, that's a legitimate need of the heart. A lot of times what we'll do is we'll try to protect ourselves. We'll build walls, we'll push people away, whatever or we'll collapse or we'll overgive or whatever the different reactions are to try to get the need for protection, for instance. But in Sufi healing, in this approach, you can just feel the yearning to be protected and then turn your heart to the divine and ask for that quality. Al-Hafiz. Ya Allah, Ya Hafiz. Ya Allah, Ya Hafiz. Ya Allah, Ya Hafiz. And then taking time to receive that. I mean, that's just 3 repetitions, but it's like, then when we're feeling that sense of, it's like, there's protection available, then suddenly the world looks different. It's the same thing, but it's, it's like when you're scared, you tunnel and you only see certain things. And then when you're feeling protected and safe, your vision can expand and you can see more. You can see perhaps, oh my goodness, there's an opportunity or there's support or there's someone here or there's something here that I didn't know how to access before when my heart was scared.
Wow. Okay. So
Yeah.
so you're recognizing there are needs that are divine needs.
Yes.
Then you are taking a moment to tune in to yourself and what you need in that moment. And then you're calling God into your heart. And then you're asking God to meet your need.
Yes.
Yeah. And is this, and so then what, I love that. I can imagine, I mean, I'm trying to translate it into my own Buddhist practice.
Yeah.
Which there are similarities. So when you, two questions really, like how does that change the way you show up in your business, your spiritual practice? And is this something that you're teaching then people to do within
Yes,
your membership and within your
yes,
programs? Yeah.
yes, yes. I don't know how to answer the question change because the business was
Ah,
born in this. This is what it's
okay.
been
This
from
has
the
always
beginning.
been this.
It's always been this. It's always
Yeah.
been this. Um, and it's always been
Mm.
a big part of it. It's always, I mean, it's always been fundamental to the way that we work because I don't know how else to do that. Other people have different ways of doing it. I just don't
Hmm.
like this is the way I've been shown how to do
And
this.
so was it, oh, sorry, can I
Hmm.
interrupt? I
Yeah.
know I've asked two questions and you're probably going to answer the other one.
Hey, listen, I
But
was raised Jewish. You can interrupt me anytime. That's how we
oh,
talk.
is that a
Yeah.
Jewish thing?
I don't know
I
if it's a
should have been
Jewish thing per se, but
Jewish.
mine, any family, it's like, yeah, you can interrupt me. I don't, it's like,
Oh
we're
my
used
God,
to talking over each other. So
it's
I
like
don't know
quite
if your family's like that at all, but mine is.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, I think I come across, I just get so excited. I just like, yeah, I want to know more about that
Exactly.
thing. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, jump
But
in.
it doesn't always land for people. And I have to try and like, especially, yeah. Anyway, when
Cultural
I'm
thing,
doing
cultural
therapy, I
differences.
switch on my therapy brain and then I don't interrupt. But when I'm in an excited conversation, I do. Okay, now I've forgotten what I was going to say. Okay, come on. Come on, Betty. Come on, brain. Um, oh yeah, I think I know what it was. So this has always been how it was.
Oh, yeah.
It was kind of born within the within your Sufi practice and
Hmm.
understanding and view of the world. Was there ever any issue with you with your lineage, with you like this was encouraged? I mean, the fact that they were offering a business healing
Right.
course
Hmm.
suggests that they want people
People
to
doing
take
business
this
healing.
into
Yes.
business, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of inherent.
Yes.
Um, and so this was encouraged
It
by
is. It
your
was.
teachers.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah. And one of the people teaching me had a consultancy and they were doing corporate consulting and they were bringing, but different people do it in different ways. I was probably at the time, I don't know, how many, I don't think there's many other people that are, anyway, it's Heart of Business is fairly unique in this particular creation.
It
Um,
sounds it. Yeah.
but I made the decision early on that I wanted to help people who were already spiritually oriented to like find a different way with business. I didn't want to bring spirituality to business people. And
Yeah.
so I've always been extremely explicit. Other Sufis would be like, you just jump into it with them. There's
Yeah.
no like softening or prelude because all of this was, you know, shortly after 9/11 and
Uh-huh.
Islamophobia in the US like kicked
Mm.
up several
Yeah.
notches and to put it mildly. And so and I was like, no, I mean I've always been yeah, well let's just do the thing. Let's just do the thing. I don't need to soft pedal it.
So you
So
are teaching Sufi practices
I
to
am.
non-Muslims.
Yes.
Yeah, and they're taking that and using the Sufi practice to grow a heart-centered business.
Yes.
Yeah, this is so interesting because I personally, just for me personally, because I've been running my business for what, 6 years now, and
Mm,
I've never really brought any of my religious practice into it.
bring it in. I mean,
I
if you're
go,
guided
yeah,
to, if you're guided to.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
it's
like I
so
don't, I mean,
interesting. No,
forgive me, I don't want to tell anybody else what to do. Like, your own heart,
yeah,
what's right for you.
yeah.
But I mean, I have a very strong desire to support diversity of everything, right? And so we are not trying to make Sufis. Like, there's very few Sufis in Heart of Business as clients. People come from everywhere. I mean, we've had
Mm,
Buddhist priests and
mm,
Buddhist nuns. We've had, rabbis, and we've had, Wiccan and everything, Zoroastrian, and people with
wow.
no path at all, and
Yeah.
but there's some sense of like, And I'm always careful. I mean, you can hear me in my language here. Like I'm always careful to say, like, this is the Sufi point of view.
Yeah.
Like this is how I learned to do it. But
Yeah.
these are like this is touching something potentially universal. You can
Ah.
probably find something similar in your own path. If you haven't
Mm.
found it, you're welcome to borrow our practice. Like
Mm.
I'm only teaching things that I'm allowed to teach
Yeah.
outside the lineage. Like I'm not sharing things that are
Yeah,
not
sure.
allowed to, because
Yeah.
every lineage has its things that are for people that have received transmission or that are
Yeah.
in, you know, that are in that stream. But I'm like, you know, this is how we do it. And so people deepen into it and then they deepen into their own path because, I trust where the divine has placed each person. It's not up to me to try to place anyone in any particular place.
Well, it's interesting that you're speaking about that kind of trusting the divine and I don't know, I think I wrote to you like over a year ago or something, and we were gonna arrange this interview a while ago, and then it only kind of resurfaced recently, and I was like, oh my God, how did this get buried? Anyway, and it just has come at this perfect moment, which is making me really question, like, oh yeah, maybe it is, maybe this is the right thing for me to do, to bring in certain elements of that, or to frame, or to maybe be more open about my view and how I see things, because I think I've been not speaking from a Buddhist point of view, even though that I'm thinking in that way, you know?
Right. I think it's helpful in most cases for people to understand, like, because each of us, like, I know this from DEIB, from diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging work, and, social justice work, that all of us have a social location. Like, we're all
Mm-hmm.
standing often in several places. We have gender, we have race, we have religion, we have cultural upbringing, we have class, we have ability. We all we have and other categories as well. We have different things that we're carrying. And the more that we make those things visible to each other, the more that we can appreciate the tapestry that's being woven. And it's easier for people to, I think to make their own, like, I think it strengthens people. It's like, oh, because my experience, I don't know, you could ask my clients, maybe they'll tell you Silver's full of shit. I don't know what he's talking about. But it's like my sense is that people, by seeing how open I am about where things are coming from and the place where I'm
Mm.
standing. I mean, this is kind of like
Mm-hmm.
a tenet in interfaith communication. It's like you
Mm-hmm.
stand strongly in where you are, and that gives other people space to be strongly where there's no
Yeah.
need to try to convert anyone when you're confident in yourself. And
Yeah.
um, so I think that the more, assuming the context is correct and it feels right for you, I feel like it strengthens other people when they know what it is that they're receiving.
Yeah. I think you're right. I agree with you. I think that's cool. And I'm really thinking also about, so I'm thinking about clients of mine who are from minority groups and how I encourage them to be loud and proud and, put their stake in the ground and say, yeah, this is who I am and this is what I do. And I mean, it's funny, isn't it, how good we are at coaching other people, and
Yeah,
not so good at, well, I mean, I speak for myself, not
right.
so good at taking my own advice sometimes.
Well, I mean, it's hard because it's like we need support, right? I mean,
Yeah.
even for our own marketing, I'm often bouncing things off of Holly or off of colleagues or off of other people, to get help because, I mean, this is one of the things that I help people with a lot is like, okay, so how do you bring your spirituality out in a way that's authentic, that doesn't dilute it, but doesn't scare people off and isn't,
Mm.
doesn't feel weird, it's it's an important uh, practice. It's a praxis, of understanding how to carry spirituality in a way that both has strength and doesn't dilute whatever lineage or transmission or
Right.
teaching you've received, but doesn't force it on somebody else.
Yeah, I think that's my fear is about diluting or mixing,
Hmm.
um, and I really want to protect the tradition
Yeah, of
from
course.
becoming diluted. And, I think that's why I've kept it not front. I mean, I talk about it sometimes and show
Hmm.
pictures of me, involved in the practice, but it's not, I'm not using that language. So it's really interesting to
Hmm.
consider how I might do that.
Yeah, I think it is an interesting because I know that there are concepts and teachings in Sufism that if I don't use the Sufi language, I can't fully express what it is I'm talking about.
Mm,
And I remember I was in a workshop years ago. Somebody else was giving the workshop, and I was a participant in it when we lived in Portland, Oregon. This was very beginning of Heart of Business. Not the very beginning, but just a few years in. And a few years in feels like the beginning when you do it for 26
right.
years. Holy God.
Yeah.
Um, and this guy I was talking to who had been very successful, he, because I was so out about the spiritual work, he was like, I do that work, but I don't talk about it with my clients.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I'm like, you're holding back the very thing that's making you successful and you're not sharing it with them. Like, or like piece of ingredient, that piece.
Mm.
Anyway, it was an interesting conversation. And yeah, but there's also like so much like we have to do this. It takes time to walk with things, to integrate them and to know how to bring them out. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. I mean, I've been involved in the tradition that I'm in for, let's say, 12 years,
Oh,
practicing and,
wow.
and an apprentice. Yeah. And I'm working towards ordination. So I'm serious,
Mm.
like
Yeah.
this is it.
Yeah.
And I've only been doing what I'm doing for 6 years in my business, so I'm 6 years into that. And that was, I did the rapid transformational therapy, it is so RTT, like
Mm.
hypnotherapy, type of hypnotherapy root cause. That training 6 years ago, and 7 years ago. Uh, yeah, and then it was like a whole different language, to come into the coaching world and to
Mm.
come into the world of, like, I don't know, so new age, the kind of concepts is very different, like world of spirituality. Like a lot of people in business, I find, are talking about spirituality, but I don't know anyone speaking about it in business, Buddhist terms, which is why it's so interesting to see you. And you're like the only one I've ever heard of doing what
Mm.
you're doing, but that's
Mm.
possible. So it does kind of make me go, huh? Oh, like,
So for instance, I'm so curious, like what's a Buddhist teaching that feels central to your work with clients?
um, well, that we are all beginninglessly enlightened, and
Mm.
that we just that the there's the patterns that we fall back on, that they can these could be the karma, that you accumulate through lifetimes, but they're just that it's possible to see through that to the beginninglessly enlightened human being. So that's kind of, I'm doing the work of unpatterning them.
Yeah. Do you talk about that with your clients?
No.
That was so beautiful the way you said it. Like I could feel it. I could feel what you were saying.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I'm gonna really sit with this now, Mark. Yeah, really appreciate you for reflecting that. Yeah. And then there's also this concept of oh God. I almost burst into tears. That's funny.
Mm,
Just came up out of nowhere. Um, so there's the female principle and the male principle. The power is the warrior, spiritual warrior,
mhm,
and the conjurer is the sky dancer,
mm,
dancing in the sky for all to see. And then one of my um, big teachings that I love to teach about is authentic visibility, and about being visible. I know that, and this is why I wrote down actually before the interview what you had said about the hadith. Did you say
mhm. Yeah,
Kut,
hadith.
kut, kut,
Kudsi.
kutsi? Yeah, this
Yeah.
divine yearning to be known. And this principle of the chondro is the sky dancer who's just
Mhm.
up there dancing to be seen.
See, now you want to make, now I'm feeling tears come up. See, this is so important because there's a transmission in that, right?
Yeah,
Like you've
there
received
is.
a transmission and you're carrying it and you're speaking it and we're feeling it. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. It's so funny. I just didn't think people would want to hear that.
Isn't that wild? Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
Some people, well, and here's the truth. Some
But some
people
people
won't,
won't. Yeah.
or won't land or it'll land differently or what have you.
Yeah.
But
And
so
then a
what?
lot of my framing in my marketing is really I don't want to say channeling. I don't like that word. But
Mhm.
like really embodying the power energy, the warrior energy,
Mm,
like seeing that the world is flipping burning and like, come on, people, let's do something about it.
I
Like,
mean,
let's embody this spiritual warrior and fucking do something about this thing. But so there's these two principles of this spiritual warrior and this sky dancer. Cool, no?
yeah. I think I mean, yeah. You know, Sufism, I'm not going to remember the number, but, Islam believes that there were 150,000, 200,000. I can't remember the number. There's a specific number. Prophets, people who were carrying the oneness, sent to every people. And, when you're in a tradition, and sometimes no tradition at all, like we have access to that flow, like that, it's like it's inside us as human beings. These
Yeah.
people were here to like open that up in each of us.
Yeah.
And so the more purely we can bring that out, if we've received it, not, and I don't mean receiving it in like, I don't mean it in an evangelistic way. Like we're not like that's such a
No,
Christian
no.
concept anyway, or
But it's
particularly
alive,
Christian
isn't it?
concept.
That concept of lineage is like
Right.
it's a thread that connects you right back through. I mean, if you're lucky enough to have it,
Yeah.
that it's a thread that goes right back through time.
It does. It does. It exists. I mean, my sheikh, Sidi al-Jamal, was a teacher at the Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem, and he was a descendant of the Prophet.
What bloodline?
Yeah. And so,
Wow, that's possible
so
to wow.
yeah, yeah. I mean, this was in the 600s. The Prophet lived in the 600s. Prophet Muhammad alayhi salam lived in
Wow,
the 600s. So it's like they track these things. They've tracked these things over time. So it's
incredible.
so yeah. So like there's a transmission that I've been given, and
Yeah.
I don't want to dilute that. You know.
No.
So the only way I know how to bring it out is you know is the way I've been given it.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, when I thought about offering meditation and I tried it. And then, like with everything that you try when you're in your early days of business, like one person showed up.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, well, no one wants that then. And then I think I just put it to bed.
Well, so people don't want meditation.
Yeah.
They don't want meditation. But what you need to do is you need to make the case for why it's important, you know?
Mm.
Like people, like I teach remembrance and I lead, actually, like for our community, I will, twice a week I lead Sufi chanting. We'll get on a Zoom call and I'll
Wow.
lead Sufi chanting, and people, people who want it show up, people who don't, whatever, I'm like, and there's
Wild.
encouragement for people to lead their own practices. It's not like I'm the only one.
Uh-huh.
Um, and And I'm like, this practice is designed to clear your heart. It's
Yeah.
designed to clear your heart. And you don't have to do the work because it's not workshop exercise. It's a spiritual practice. It's like the practice itself does the work. And
Mm. Yeah.
and so I make the case and then people do it and then they experience it and they go, oh, this is I need my business needs this, my heart needs this.
Mm.
If you like present meditation not as do people want meditation, but how else do you carry your beingness? How else do you access your beingness if the pond isn't still, you know?
Mm.
And or whatever language you would use.
Mm.
And
Oh,
it's
it's
so
amazing.
important. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing hearing you speak. I feel really inspired now, Mark. So I'm really grateful to you for that because, suddenly all these ideas you asked me about, like I almost froze when you asked me a question. I was not expecting that. And when you're asking me, okay, tell me then about these, how the Buddhist concepts apply to your work. And I was like, oh shit. But now I can't stop thinking about them. I want
Right.
to tell you more.
I want to hear it. It's all right there. I still want to hear it. Your people want to hear it.
Yeah, amazing.
People want to hear it. Yeah. I want to say one other thing about the coaching world.
Yeah, please.
So I'm not a coach. I was never
Mm,
trained as a coach.
mm,
I sometimes use the word coach. People apply it to me because it's like it gets used a lot now that it's a much more common thing. When I was starting out, coach wasn't so
mm-hmm,
like so well known. But like don't like you can be a visitor in a land without like I
mm.
don't know if you're trained as a coach, if that's part of your training. No, you're not trained as a coach either.
No.
I use the word practitioner, or I use the
Yeah.
word healer, or I don't use a title at all, like,
Yeah, that's hard though, isn't it? When you're at these kind of introduce yourself in however many,
yeah, what do you do? Who are
syllables.
you? It's
Yeah.
like, well, we help people who are spiritually oriented business owners who really need their business to support them.
Yeah.
And we do that by, it's the integration of liberation work and social, spiritual healing and business nitty gritty, you know?
Mm,
And I don't use any titles in that. I don't call myself anything.
mm. Yeah. I, I don't know if you can hear it, but my cat just got up and now he's purring so loud. He's like, the vet calls him a motorbike. He's coming really close to the microphone just so you can hear him.
Yeah.
Let me see. Can you hear him?
What's her name?
Here's a boy. He's called
Okay.
Osiris. Do you want to come on the video?
Osiris.
Osiris, there he is.
Hello, Osiris.
He wants to be seen. He has the
Yes.
divine yearning to be known.
Yeah.
Don't you, Ozzy? Good
Yeah.
boy. Yeah, so I mean we've come bang on. Like I never do that. But I mean it's so yeah, this has been a really special conversation, Mark.
Hmm.
I'm really grateful to you for that. Yeah, and to Tad, of course. I feel like every bloody episode I'm always thanking Tad because he's always
Tad
introduced.
Hargrave is such a
Yeah.
special person. We've known each other for years. We co-taught a workshop together once in Edmonton, and we've just, he's such a dear person. He's carrying the culture work he's doing is so important in this world, as well as marketing for hippies, of course.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah, both, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's coming to Britain again this year, in September. So he'll be coming to Wales where I live, and I'm gonna try and get him to come to our little Waldorf school and give a
Oh, sweet.
culture
Oh, yes.
presentation. So yeah, that it's gonna be really beautiful to spend that time again with him. Yeah, well, yeah, I love that.
How
I get
lovely.
I invite people that he recommends onto the podcast, and then we always just spend a minute just going, he's the best.
Yes.
And then I send it to him. So
Yeah.
here you are,
Hey,
Tad.
Tad,
Another one. Yeah.
we
Hi,
love you.
Tad. Yeah, cool. Oh, thanks so much. I mean, so Mark, I mean, people have got their ears all pricked up now and they're like, who is this guy? Like, do you want to just finish by telling people a bit more about, I mean, I'm curious too, about like what it looks like inside your world and how they might want to get involved in that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I did write a book, which is always like
Yes.
the easiest way and the least expensive way to like get to know somebody is the
Yeah.
book. Um, and I'm really proud of it. I just published it a year and a half, 2 years ago, and so it's got a lot of
Congratulations.
my. Thank you. I've written a lot of material, but this is the first. Like, I just was never drawn to publish a book, but then I was
Uh-huh.
invited to, and so it was the right thing. And
Yeah.
but heartofbusiness.com, if you get on our email list, you'll get to know who we are. You'll get to know who we are. There's under our free stuff, there's a self-assessment that gets sent to me. And so you'll also get my personal reply, but you'll learn our model of business development through the 4 stages of business that that I um, observed over working with
Mm.
thousands of businesses over the last
Mm-hmm.
26 years and for tiny businesses. And
Mm.
um, yeah, and then that kind of like the heart of what we do. I mean, I work with some clients individually that are in more advanced stages, depending on where they are, and some small group. But really, we do, I shouldn't say, but really, that's really great work, and I love it. And our learning community is really the container for um, for development from the very beginning to like somebody in the messy middle to like moving through to the third, at least the third stage momentum. And um and yeah, there's just a tremendous amount of support there. Um it's not one of those we have a cap on the membership so that there's only so many people that can join so that people don't get lost. There's space. There's space, but it's not full yet. But when we get there, we're about 75% full. Um, and there's more support than you can take advantage of in terms of live calls, in terms of modules, in terms of spiritual support, in terms of we do a spiritual virtual retreat every other month, 24-hour virtual retreat to help people clear their hearts and kind of deepen
Oh,
their presence. We do a practice of remembrance as part of our compassion and accountability process and calls. My wife leads deep heart check-ins so that you can listen very deeply to your own guidance and not just like do what they say. It's like, no, you've got to be aligned in yourself. It's great to learn from others, but it has to fit.
God.
And all our work is based on principles rather than templates. I mean, we have templates and we have things that people can copy, but it's really principles. So we're not turning out cookie cutter businesses. People
Mm.
really find their own expression, by leaning into
So
the principles.
important.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, it's so important. So yeah, so the learning community is for a lot of people in the earlier to middle stages of business tend to
Yeah.
be the place to be.
Ah, so beautiful. And does that work? What kind of um time zone do the calls
We
tend to be?
rotate the calls
Mm.
so that they tend to fit. I mean, like there's some people I'm just so sorry. The Australians just get up super
Yeah.
early sometimes. I'm so
Oh
sorry.
dear.
It's
Yeah.
like I can't. I cannot do it in the middle of the night myself. But
Yeah.
our calls tend to rotate between like I don't know, like a 10:30, 11 o'clock Eastern time AM out
Mm-hmm.
to about 4 p.m. Eastern time. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's too late for people in the UK, but it's good for
Mm.
people on the west coast of North America. Other times it's really good for people in Europe. And we do have people from many different countries. Someone
Mm.
joined recently from Vietnam, and
Oh,
it
cool.
was really sweet. So yeah,
Yeah, great. Okay, and then just to really finish, I'd love to just ask what's really lighting you up? What are you really excited about right now?
Hmm. Well, there's a number of things. I'll name two things.
Okay.
One thing is that it's summer and we have some property where we are and we're creating a food forest. And so because I'm on the board of directors for a Center for Regenerative Agriculture Education. And so
Amazing.
anyway, I love that. So I'm really excited about some perennial vegetables that we want to kind
Yeah.
of get going. And then the other thing is I've just recently had a breakthrough in how I want to talk about like the social justice piece has always been like this is the right thing to do because we need to care for each other. And I finally have found I'm working towards like a much simpler way to talk about how social justice, how liberation work is actually fundamental to successful business, especially in capitalism. We need it
Mm,
for very specific reasons that to do with helping the business be successful without hurting ourselves or other people.
mm,
And I've just found a much easier way to talk about spirituality, social justice, liberation work, and business kind of like anti-capitalist business nitty-gritty work. So that's
oh,
really
so
exciting to me.
exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that. And I've just planted a garden for the first time.
Yes.
I have a
Yes.
greenhouse. I have a
That.
greenhouse full of
Oh my God.
the sugar snap peas are going crazy.
Oh,
And
yes.
the tomatoes will be on their way soon. Yeah,
I
really
love it.
nice. Yeah,
That's
so it's my
yay.
first time. First time. I'm doing
That's
my
so
best.
exciting. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to make so many mistakes. Plants are going to die. It's okay. It's
And we
okay.
got chickens this year as well.
Oh, you
So
got chickens. We have a coop. We
yeah.
haven't yet gotten the chickens. We've had chickens
Uh-huh.
in
Oh dear.
where we lived before, but we haven't gotten chickens yet here. So
Oh, well, that's,
it's
I
coming.
love it. I love it. So much
Yeah.
fun. Oh,
I'm so
Mark,
glad.
beautiful. Thank you so much for your
I know what a
time today.
delightful space you hold. Thank you so much for meeting me in this, beautiful place where we've been
Such a
connected.
pleasure. Well, maybe we can have a follow-up sometime. I'll,
Absolutely.
I'll write to you and see if I can get you back. All
You
right.
want, so, all
All
right.
right. Amazing. Thanks so much, Mark. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for
And you
being a
too.
guest. Thank
Blessings and
you.
blessings. Peace.
Goodness me, what a gift. What a joy that conversation, that meeting was. I'm still processing it now, a week or so later. The circle of care that Mark mentioned, the heart feeding itself first, the idea that our businesses can be something that hold us rather than us forever carrying them. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. If Mark's work and words are calling to you, do go and find him at heartofbusiness.com, where you can join his mailing list. You can take his free self assessment, and he replies personally, which tells you a lot, doesn't it? It tells you a lot about him and how he works. And yes, remember, Mark's book, Heart Centered Business, is available too. I'm going to be digging into that now and very excited about reading my copy. And as ever, once again, thanks to the wonderful Tad Hargrave who connected us. You can find him at marketingforhippies.com, and he's coming to Britain. So keep your eyes peeled for the dates in September. That's this year, 2026, if you're in Britain. Yeah, good. So thank you so much for being here, for your time, for listening. If something in this episode moved you, I'd love to hear about that. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love it if you felt that you wanted to share this episode with someone else who you think might enjoy it. And yeah, until next time, take excellent care of yourselves. And I'll see you then. Hey, Betty here again. if something in this conversation stirred you, if all this talk of being witnessed, of letting yourself be seen, touched a tender place, then I have something that you might love. On Tuesday, the 30th of June, that's this year, 2026, I'm running a live online workshop. It's called Unapologetic. It's all about authentic visibility, about how to be ourselves in the spotlight. So it's for you if you know that you've got something to offer the world, but you find that actually showing up online, being seen, making videos, etc., putting yourself out there feels a little, if that feels a bit edgy or exposing or actually just terrifying, then this is something I'd warmly invite you to come check out. Together we will get curious about why being seen stopped feeling safe. And the clue is it's all in your past, in your story. And then once we understand it, it can start to just loosen its grip a little bit. And then you can start to step out of the shadows, stop hiding, and let yourself shine, let yourself be seen, because you are a fundamentally decent human being. I'm sure that if you're listening to this show, you're a good person, you're a kind person, and the world will benefit from you shining your light, from you being more visible. So this workshop is 2 hours long. It's £11, and there'll be some teaching, there'll be some practical tools, and there'll be some hot seat healing. And you can find the link in the show notes, and I'd absolutely love to have you there. It will be quite a small group, quite an intimate setting, and yeah, I really would welcome you to join us. The link is in the show notes. You can also find it at truewealthwithbetty.com, or just drop me a line and I'll be happy to guide you.